tragedy, and we want to feel all of those emotions today as we apply pressure here in State College and against our oppressive institutions here, across the nation, and the world. We are here to challenge police brutality, white supremacy, and anti-blackness in all its forms. We are here to send a message to the Attorney General, the grand jury, to police that we won't wait to demand justice, and if you don't get it here, we are shutting it down. So the first thing we are going to be doing today is taking over whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! And disrupting the normal. And everyone has a part in this. So as we first take this intersection right here where we stand, understand that it takes all of us to take this space. Whose streets? Our streets! 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 Whose streets? Our streets!
1962, Malcolm X said, "The most disrespected person in America is a black woman." As things have unfolded over the past few days in Breonna Taylor's case, I think we can all hold this notion to be true over 50 years later. We have been saying Breonna's name for over 194 days. Influencers and supposed allies have been using her name as a slogan that validates their so-called wokeness. Brands have profited off her name and image. She has been used for TikToks, for songs, for memes, for documentaries. Whether we wanted to suppress it or not, we all became familiar with the name Breonna Taylor. Demanding that the officers who killed her be arrested became a slogan that was overused without any implementation of action. Like many black women in America, Breonna Taylor was used for the gain of others. Her name wasn't used to commemorate her life, but to put the focus on the system that failed her. Her family was given a substantial settlement for a wrongful death, yet we are still waiting for her life to be valued more than damage to a wall. No matter how far they will go to justify the death of Breonna Taylor, we must find empathy to see her case for what it really is: a death of an innocent black woman, unsuspecting, in her home by those who were sworn to protect us. This is how it goes, right? A black woman is killed, a black man is killed, and no justice is served. We're the ones who are crazy to demand justice, right? Protesters are the ones who are arrested for protesting the unlawful treatment of black people. That's how the system works. Well, I challenge you to not accept that today. I don't accept the lousy settlement that was paid out in an effort to make up for her death. I don't accept that only one officer was charged. I don't accept that accessory to crime holds no stance in this case. I don't accept the decision made by Attorney General Daniel Cameron. I don't accept any of it, and I hope that you won't either. Let's breathe life into Breonna's name again. Let's remember her for the bossy, caring, fun woman that her mother describes her as. When we say her name, let's say it with conviction, as if Breonna Taylor was your sister, your mother, your grandmother, your friend. Again and again, we say enough is enough, but what are we doing to make sure that enough is actually enough? What are we doing to make sure that Black women are protected? Healing and unlearning behavior starts with yourself, starts within. It's important to acknowledge that we all have things that we can improve upon. It is only when we begin to heal ourselves that we can really pour into the people around us. Are we refusing to confront our unhealthy views of Black women? Black women, are we refusing to confront the unhealthy views of ourselves? Do we sit back while colorism reveals itself? Is there internalized racism, homophobia, transphobia, misogyny that is holding us back from really fighting for all of the Black community? Black men, are you willing to stand up for us when no one else will? Allies, are you willing to use your privilege to amplify voices? Hold your friends accountable. Hold your families accountable. Don't let the disrespect of Black women go without consequence around you. We are Black women. We empower, we build, we love, we sustain. We want to be heard. We want to be empathized with. We want our experiences as all different kinds of Black women to be validated. We deserve better. Breonna deserved better. Justice for Breonna. Thank you.
Hey, y'all. All right, I'm gonna have to take a deep breath real quick because this is new to me. But I just want to thank y'all for coming. Being here means that you care, and I just want to give you guys a round of applause for that. So, close your eyes. Please, everyone, close your eyes. Breathe in. The person standing to your right, what's their name? What's their favorite food? Breathe out. To your left, what are their hobbies? What's their most favorite place in the world? Breathe in. What's your name? Who are your loved ones? Breathe out. Now open your eyes. With your eyes closed, you are blind to the appearance of your neighbors, made assumptions about their lives without seeing. Imagine being on the receiving end of an individual with their eyes physically open, but their receptors are closed. Blinded by their assumptions regarding your appearance, making decisions affecting your life based on those assumptions of who you are, what you do, who you love, how you act, and what you value. Choosing a specific, biased, horrific treatment towards you based on those set assumptions, based on the color of your skin. Now, I'm not an expert on Breonna Taylor's killing. I'm not an expert on George Floyd's killing, and I'm not an expert on Ahmaud Arbery's killing. I was not physically present at their murders, but my soul was. Each and every death, each and every video of a murder, each and every story strips away part of my soul. My soul is tired. Is yours? My soul, my identity, have felt threatened since the day I was born. Not from my own wrongdoings, but as a side effect of living in someone else's world, in someone else's nation. Where a strong, beautiful, independent Black woman like myself is not supported, but broken down. My strength, my beauty, my identity is oppressed daily by appropriation without recognition and constant reminders that Black women might hold the world on our backs, but will never receive the payment of love for our efforts. Imagine you were just confronted by an officer. I would have my ID in my lanyard on my wrist, as I do everywhere I go, even when I'm driving. And I would say, my name is Olivia Grace Jack. My family calls me Liva, Livy, Olivia Grace. My friends call me Liv. I'm a student athlete here at Penn State. I'm a swimmer. I'm the co-president of the Athletes for Equal Rights nonprofit organization, the conference co-director of the Caribbean Student Organization here at Penn State, and I'm the president and the founder of the new Black Student Athletes organization here at Penn State. Thank you. See, I wouldn't have made it through that statement without interruptions, without shaking, without praying that I would make it home. Would you? Would you be able to fully identify yourself if a police officer pulled you over? My identity is one of the most important parts of me, something I hold close to my heart. I was born in Saginaw, Michigan, the first of 4 children in my family. I've lived in Barbados, Brooklyn, and Albany, New York. My mother is white, she's German and Italian, and my father, he's black. He was born and raised in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a nation in the Caribbean, and I'm a mix of the two, Vincentian, German, Italian, and American. My skin is black, and I am black. I've struggled with that whole definition my whole life, whether to say I'm black or mixed. If I say I'm black to some people, they think that I'm disregarding the white genes that are part of my being. If I say I'm mixed, it's assumed that I'm not willing to embrace my black skin. I've decided over the years, with countless surveys asking me to choose one racial identity, that I'm black. And I love my mom's side of the family, and the genes my mom gave me just the same. If I had the choice to pick more than one race, of course I'd say I'm Vincentian, I'm German, and I'm Italian, but there's never that choice. I guess that's one of the first things I noticed about being black in a nation where you're either white or other. There's no identity given on any governmental documents where I can truly define myself as what I am. My grandparents were not slaves. Slavery was abolished in 1865 with the passing of the 13th Amendment, so they say. Throughout school, though, there was a common question as to whether my grandparents or great-grandparents were slaves. My great-grandmother is still alive. Her name's Grandma Pearl, and she's in her mid-80s. Unless she's traveled to the future and created a family, she's not and never was a slave. If they were asked about the originality of my last name, though, Jack, they would respectfully discover that it was given to past family members who were enslaved by the British on the island of St. Vincent, the nation emancipated from Britain in my father's lifetime in 1979 when my dad was 10 years old. That was the second thing I noticed about living in a nation where black skin is not the expected, not the respected skin tone. I've learned about the same United States history throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, and even now, highlighting all the great and wonderful things accomplished by the white people of the nation, touching on slavery for a day or two, in which my classmates would turn and ask me ridiculous questions. And when we did spend a few days about talking about slavery, it was always as though we were tiptoeing around the issue of it all, as though in some way there was a reason why slavery should be validated for its presence. Imagine if we were not taught from the very beginning that Thomas Jefferson was an angel of a man and a president, but instead that he raped the slaves that he owned, ending up creating black children that had lighter skin tones and still worked as house slaves. What if we grew up learning the history of all the members of this nation? If we learned that Native Americans did in fact know this land existed before Christopher Columbus found it? And making those lives that lived in the land work for him, either work for him or die. What if we grew up learning to celebrate the number of cultures we have in this country as equal in nature, instead of assuming the superiority of the white race? We cannot drill into the minds of children the ideas of one racial superiority anymore. It's education that leads to decision making. If someone is taught their whole lives that black people, minorities, are inferior to them with their white skin, and they themselves believe in that, they'll think that it's right to treat them the wrong way as they have the past 500 plus years. When will we get rid of the what ifs? The time for change was yesterday, except yesterday was centuries ago. If little black girls like me grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, are taught that their skin is something that she might be punished for having, how can we grow up loving the very skin that we live in, the very skin that others seem to hate? I did not always love my black skin, my curly afro, and I honestly believed that, well, to be honest, I love straightening my hair, but I realized at one age that that was not my natural hair and I didn't need to do it anymore. But so, I believed that I learned when my hair was naturally curly, as it should be, I was still ostracized about the different texture, as though it was a foreign object that needed to be examined and figured out. I was constantly asked, and I'm still asked, how to wash it, how I handle it, how I fit into the cap that I wear every day during swim practice. There were many people who were asking simply out of curiosity, who meant no harm and were simply interested in the hair that was different from their own. Although there were times when the questions were worded, presented, and stated as though my hair was something that couldn't be maintained because it wasn't like their own. I'm tired of being examined. I'm not a foreign specimen, imported from a world other than our own. I have pigmented skin. I have melanin. I have a large curly afro and I have light brown eyes. I'm simply different. I am a beautiful mix of my mother and father, beautifully mixed, beautifully black, and beautifully me. I have a name. Thank you. I have a name, I have a heartbeat, and I have a story. At 20 years old, I'm still struggling to believe the statements I just made. I'm still bothered by the ignorance created when my black skin is seen and my origin story is ignored. I've learned to handle the questions about my hair, how to decipher if it's coming from a place of pure curiosity or not. And I still struggle with the lack of people who look like me in my sport, in swimming. But I've become numb to it all. I'm not numb anymore. What has kept me going, restored my belief in humanity, is all of y'all. My family, my teammates, and my friends. And so I invite y'all, following COVID rules obviously, to meet your neighbors, the same people I asked you questions about at the beginning. Get to know them. Make a community for yourself here at State College of people that support your ideals and who you are as a person, no matter the color of your skin. I love you all. Never forget your identity. Fuel your soul. Take time to breathe and love yours. Stay gorgeous, Black queens. Y'all matter, always and forever. We're powerful beyond measure. Thank you.
So 2020 and social issues in general tend to stress me out. And I think if you aren't stressed by 2020 and social issues, you're privileged. So I wrote this piece based on this stress. A system cannot protect those who it never had in mind to protect. People say racism today doesn't exist, as if one day between now and 60 years ago, when our grandparents were beaten and lynched and treated like animals, people just woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm gonna change my ideologies and put my own self-interest aside. This is America. The majority are never going to naturally wake up and one day decide to choose morality over their own self-interest. Yet people say racism today doesn't exist. People say now everything is equal. They say black struggles are his own fault. Let me start by saying this. Just because someone isn't spitting in my face and calling me a racial slur every day doesn't mean that racism does not exist. The issue is people fail to see that the fault of the design of the system continues to impact us today. Slavery ended just 4 generations ago, and after its end, we were given no real chance of equality and social mobility. We received no percentage of the wealth we curated for this country, large businesses and corporations. We were denied equal education until 1964 when the Civil Rights Act was passed. People fail to realize that these historic systems still oppress us today and not a lot has changed. When we talk about how this impacts us today, they fail to realize that our public education is currently broken. We have a public education system in America, unlike any other country, that is based on in which your quality of education is based on the property tax of your income. Therefore, people in lower income neighborhoods where African American and other minorities in America tend to be placed are automatically receive lower education. They fail to realize that the cost of college disproportionately affects minority and African American citizens, since we don't have that generational wealth and we never received those reparations years ago to build our generational wealth. Therefore, a lot of us cannot afford $50,000 schools like Penn State. We have a criminal justice system that focuses on strategies, that focuses their energy on strategies that further the disruption of African American communities and that further their generational incarceration. They put resources into these systems that disproportionately hurt our America, and that study after study shows not only does not work, but actually worsens the problem. There are currently 2.2 million African Americans currently in detention centers. We also see these issues through housing segregations and zoning issues. Study after study shows that in these areas where African Americans are placed, that no matter the race in these inner city zone and transition areas, whether it's Hispanic, Italian, white, Asian, these areas are automatically disproportionately more likely to have higher crime rates and other social issues. But yet people say racism doesn't exist today. People say racism doesn't exist today when we use our First Amendment rights that people cherish so dearly, we are automatically painted. They do everything in their power to paint us as thugs and vigilantes, when that is not the overwhelming truth. But do you know why they choose to focus on ignorance? Because when one is blinded by ignorance or their dislike for another, they cannot see the bigger issues in play. They become so focused in the fear created by strategy that they can't see that they are being made upon. The real thing to fear is not their brothers and sisters from another race, but it is a lack of affordable health care. It is an inequality in public education. It is a leader who denies the seriousness of a pandemic-created virus and ignores health officials for their own ratings. It is the impossibility of a $7.25 minimum wage. It is climate change, in which studies have shown we only have 7 years before we have irreversible damage affects our daily lives. It is losing their constitutional rights. That is something that we need to fear. It is not okay, and we cannot sit idly by while we have a government that sends the military to restrict people's First Amendment freedom of speech and freedom of assembly rights. That is not okay. But they don't want the majority to fear the issues that actually impact their lives. They currently do and always have want them to instead fear people, our people. Because when everyone comes together and works together with morality and compassion in their hearts, they lose power. And if you think what's going on today has nothing to do with voting in this election, you're fooling yourself. All of these systems that work against us, mass incarceration, housing segregation, broken public education, minimum wage, police brutality, where do you think they start? Ruth Bader Ginsburg, God rest her soul, argued for our Fourth Amendment freedom, and she said that police should not have the right and not be able to go into people's house without a warrant. They ruled against her because she wasn't the majority at the time. And now we have to face the fact that Breonna Taylor, God rest her soul, will not receive justice. And if we do not act now, there will be 50 more Breonna Taylors, our mothers, our aunties, our friends, us, that receive no justice as well. A system cannot protect those who we never had in mind to protect. So if we want to change, we have to work for that change. So if you don't do one thing after being here at this protest, don't just post a hashtag, don't just post a black screen, vote. Because our lives are at stake, and we need to do better and act with morality. Because morality is not a political issue. Morality is not a political statement, and this election is life or death. Thank you.
I write for those women who do not speak, for those who do not have a voice because they were so terrified, because we are taught to respect fear more than ourselves. We have been taught that silence would save us, but it won't. Audre Lorde. My name is Haniel Tracy, and I am a student, a senior here at Penn State, and I am the president of Writers Organized to Represent Diverse Stories. And today I did not come prepared with a profound speech, but I just want to speak from my heart and from my experience here at Penn State, and hopefully be able to articulate something that is meaningful that will help us today to move through this protest and to continue to move through our lives. So, like I said, my name is Haniel Tracy. I'm a senior here, and yesterday at the vigil, I recited a speech, I am me, I am a black woman who does not, in a world that does not love me. And I wrote this poem 4 years ago from my first experience here at Penn State as a freshman. And I can say that I'm simply not surprised that this is still relevant today because it has been relevant for all of our lives for 100 years. So my experience at Penn State was a student, and I was walking across campus and I felt like I was getting a lot of stares. People were looking at me. I was the only black student and black woman in my class, and it's a new environment for me. So I would say I grew up in Philadelphia and I was born in Jamaica, and majority of the people I've been around my entire life were black people, Caribbean people. So this is an environment that is something that's new for me. So coming into State College and coming into Penn State, I was in a new environment. I felt that I was expected to speak on behalf of all black people and to speak on behalf of all black women in my class. And I just want to say that you should not feel obligated to speak. You should not feel obligated to speak on behalf of your whole race because that's your job. You should be prioritizing yourself. And like many people said yesterday, you should not be normalizing what we see on social media. You should not be normalizing what we see here with so many black lives being lost and taken from us. Like many people said, this could be you, this could be your aunt, this can be your brother, your sister, and this is not okay. And like many people said, you should be out voting, you should be out doing what you can, and I'm so happy and grateful to see everyone out here today putting in the simple effort because it definitely takes a lot. It takes strength, it takes courage to just be here and wake up every single day. And I can say I did not get any sleep last night because I couldn't. My soul was not at ease, it was not at rest, and I know this is true for many of the people out here today. So I want to just say that, like I said, I don't have a speech prepared, but I also have another quote to share, and it is that I am not free, while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own, and this is also by Audre Lorde. And I want to say that, like this quote said, we're not all free if each and every one of us is not free. And we should continue to fight, and we should continue to be fighting for each other. It does not matter your race, it does not matter your ethnicity, it does not matter your sex, it does not matter because we are not all free. And today I want us to go out and to remember that because I have chills all over my body because I cannot rest until we are all free. I cannot rest, my soul is mistaken because even though I'm not the well-versed person on political matters and all of these issues, and like I said, it should not matter. You should not be able to, you should not even have an education to know that our lives are being taken. It does not matter. That should not be an excuse, and I just want us to continue to know that and to continue to educate ourselves and go out and take the initiatives, especially today and in this election, like many people said. So thank you so much for coming out today, and I appreciate you guys, and we will continue to fight, and we will continue to get justice for everyone in Breonna Taylor. So thank you so much.
I'm going to take a little bit of a harsher tone right now, if you don't mind. Impunity. The Webster's Dictionary defines impunity as the exemption of punishment. The exemption of harm or loss as a consequence of an action. A name that I've constantly been hearing and whose name has been ringing in my mind over the last few months has been Emmett Till. On September 23rd, 1955, the murderers of Emmett Till were exonerated by an all-white jury, who I just read were allowed to drink on duty. Fast forward 65 years, September 23rd, 2020. The murderers of Breonna Taylor were exonerated completely. The only implication was for the shots that were missed, not for the shots that pierced through the skin of her soft black body. Many people will not read about the hours after Breonna's murder, how her body was left in the building for hours, how her mother was sent back and forth between the hospital and her home with lies being told. But I want to talk today about impunity. Where does this impunity come from? Why does it happen time and time again? 99% of the officers who have killed black people are walking around the streets free. In State College, officers 1, 2, and 3 killed Osaze Osage on March 20th, 2019, and they are walking around free. Every time I see a police in my rearview mirror, I think, is he Officer 1? There is no consequence. And this is the meaning of impunity. I talk about impunity because impunity does not come from you liking or hating or you having black friends or I having white friends or if I can speak or walk into a store. Impunity is what happens when there is no consequence for these actions. When black people are hurt, when black people feel pain, when this is inflicted upon our minds, our souls, our bodies, there is no consequence. And this is impunity. Impunity is being free after killing. It's being free after doing whatsoever you please. Osaze was killed 3 shots in the back. How do you justify that? Breonna was killed sleeping. How do you justify that? But impunity comes from systemic and systematic racism and a legal system of white supremacy which is designed to kill, cage, and enslave black and brown people. And this system is doing exactly what it is designed to do. It is doing what it is supposed to do. It is not that the system is failing. The problem is the system is working. And where is this invisible system? It is in every law. It is in every policy. It is in the curriculum. It is in your textbooks. It is in the food that you eat, who farmed it and who was paid and not paid. It is in the clothes that we wear. This is white supremacy, and it is killing our minds, our souls, and it is killing our bodies. So as much as we want to sit here and talk about loving each other, it's very important. But if we all happen to love each other, if we all support each other, if we support our black friends and sisters and brothers, that is good and wonderful and definitely needed. We have to do that. We have to heal our souls, we have to heal our relationships, and we have to love. But I want you to know right here, right now, if the whole Penn State University, the whole of State College, and the whole Center County came together and sang Kumbaya together, we are not going to change the system. Because you see, as powerful as that love is, it will not bring back Osaze. It will not bring back Breonna. It will not free the men and women sitting in the prisons just a few miles from here for small petty crimes. It will not break open the jail cells. So we must be, and you ask all the time, oh, what can I do, what can I do? We must dismantle the system. This system needs to be taken back down. It needs to be taken down brick by brick. And this is a painstaking and hard journey that is very difficult. So if we truly want to respect the legacy of Breonna, the legacy of Emmett, the legacy of Osaze, we have to take apart this system. We have to defund the police. We have to take the cops out of our schools. We have to take the cops out of our universities. We have to divest from prisons. We have to take everything down. We have to pass the Breathe Act. We have to tell Penn State to divest from prisons, to divest from the police. We have to make this happen. And when we take it down, we have to be ready to build it back up. And that is the challenge to the generations that are standing here. We know what we don't want. We need to know what we are going to build. In every program, in every step you take, in your engineering, in your biology, in your writing, in every single thing that you do, how are you building a system that is just and fair and that takes impunity and throws it out of the window and declares that Black lives matter. And they matter more every day, because it is from this hatred, it is from this pain that we're going to take apart the system and we are going to build it back up. I'll close with the words of Assata Shakur. She said, "It is our duty to fight for freedom." Can someone tell me the end of that? It is our duty to win. Thank you very much.
I'm helping coordinate the community defense team. We've been asked to be here to help ensure that the protest can go on however y'all want it to happen. It is your protest. We're not here to tell you how to protest. Go protest however you want. We are here to keep people from the outside coming in and dictating how this protest happens. So if you need help interacting with the police or people trying to escalate some situation or any other kind of help, just reach out to people wearing a pink bandana. If you look around, you'll see a couple of us. Thank you.
I recently transferred over here from Southern Methodist University. It's located in Dallas, Texas. It's a predominantly white institution. While there, I was told that I wasn't allowed to protest. I should just shut up and dribble. And as you see now, all my teammates are behind me. All my coaches are here. They're standing with us. And I love being here. And when I was there, I wrote a song. And last night I came out and I performed it for the first time. And I'm here today to do the same thing. Hit it, DJ. America, land of the red and blue. But what if I told you that this new America is not the America that we all once knew? Brothers dying, mothers crying, cops is hiding. Who's deciding who lives and who falls? Who will rise and who will fall? Dang. How many more people will it take to come together, unite? How many more people must die before we decide to fight? 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, oh no, think we got another man down. 4 shots, 5 shots, can't breathe, can't think, somebody please pull their phone note. They say they protecting us, how? But steady, they taking us out. So what are we supposed to do now? I say we stand up and shout, it's time to reclaim all our freedoms, to rise above the issues that we come suppressed to. It's time to break through. It's time for me and you. Say it's time to fight for what we live for. Don't let nobody silence you. But when they try to, remember all your rights so you can stand and fight. You have the right to remain silent, so when they question, don't say shit. You have the right to be shown a warrant before they search your car or your crib. Plead the fifth on everything, don't have to tell them where you live or even your name. It's time to plan their demise. Yeah, it's time to rise. That one day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be so evident that all men are created equal. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. But why do I sing? If I'm unarmed, you still shoot me. We used to sing, let freedom ring, but now we sing, this is not my country. It's time to reclaim all our freedoms, to rise above the issues that we've come suppressed to. It's time to break through. It's time for me and you. Say it's time to
feel free to get some. So we're going to be taking water. There's t-shirts up here if you need one, from courtesy of the Penn State NAACP. They're right behind me. If you would like to bring a banner, there's some that you can take with you. So for this march, we're going to start heading in that direction. We would like Black people to the front if you feel comfortable. The people with the Black Lives Matter banner and the Black Power banner, if you could go to the front towards that direction, that would be great. And we're going to start off with some chants. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. All right. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. When I say Black lives, you say matter. Black lives. 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 Matter. are remembering the life of Breonna Taylor. But there are other black women who have not received justice and have been gunned down by police. Kendra James, Tyesha Miller, Pamela Turner, Alberta Spewell, Ayana Jones, Darnisha Harris, Mariana Carey, Catherine Johnston, Tarika Wilson, Rika Boyd, Sharice Francis, Chantel Davis, Yvette Smith, Shelly Frey, Tanisha Anderson, Alicia Thomas, Melissa Williams. If you all thought that it was just Breonna, or maybe even just Sandra Bland, you were wrong. Black women are important. Our lives matter, and black women deserve justice. Thank you. Everybody can say it.
Don't shoot!
occupy this space again. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. Thank you all.
We are here today to call for justice for Breonna Taylor, but we must also raise the awareness that it happened right here, only a few blocks beyond these gates. On March 20th, 2019, Osaze Osagi was shot in the back 3 times by a State College borough police officer as they were allegedly attempting to perform a 302, a mental health check. They did not identify themselves as they knocked on his door, and the officer covered the people on Osaze, a man experiencing a mental health crisis. A man whose father was driving through this town, unaware the police had found him, unaware they had shot and killed him within 3 minutes of arriving at his door. Our coalition was created shortly thereafter as many groups began working to ensure this never happens in our town again. Working for reform and anti-bias, anti-racism, in a town which continues to deny there is even an issue. We realized that the work would be more effective and efficient if we pooled our resources, and thus 320 began. Since April of 2019, we have began working in the intersectionality that led to Osaze's death: police reform and divestment, mental health funding, and reform and anti-racism. We have protested, marched, held sit-ins. The work of 320 has helped bring about a mental health task force. And currently the borough has begun work on our demand for a community oversight board. The DA's report, finding the officers not guilty and fully justified in their use of deadly force, came out in May, just days after students left for the summer. We know that was no coincidence. The powers that be wanted to avoid this that is now occurring. Community and students together, collectively using our presence and raising our voices. For almost a year and a half, we have worked to break through the wall of silence that surrounds this so-called Happy Valley, and have watched as our intentions are distorted and misrepresented to dissuade from the truth. Osaze Osagi was murdered by a State College borough police officer, and we are not even given the respect of knowing his name. This brings me to our list of 10 demands, which we presented to the State College borough this summer. One of those demands is the release of the names of the officers, as they are currently working in our community, and we have the right to know. Who is Officer 1? We have called out who is Officer 1, the officer who shot Osaze, and have been met with not only silence, but accusations that we wish to do harm. This cannot stand. In fact, the only demand which has been met as of today is the one that was already in place: the banning of chokeholds by State College police. There is much work to be done. The journey is long, but together we will achieve our goals. Each one of us right now can lift Osaze's voice and raise awareness that indeed it did happen here. We will not forget, and we demand justice. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that Non-Ray spoke on it earlier about the different aspects of the Breonna Taylor's case and how her mother was lied to and she was literally going back and forth between the home and the hospital, trying to figure out where Breonna was, and her body laid in that house for over 10 hours. I don't know if you know, but there were shots fired in 2 other houses other than Breonna's that night. One to the left of her and one to the right of her. The police officers that were, well, the police officer that was charged with the shots entering the home beside her, had also shot into the house on the other side of her. But Breonna was black, the house on this side was black, and the house on this side had a white woman in it. And for some reason, that was considered reckless. And I want to read something that great poet B. Richards wrote years ago, and it's almost uncomfortable on how relevant it is today. And I don't want anybody to take it offensively, but I do just want to note that for some reason in America, white womanhood is more valuable than black womanhood. White tears are more important than black tears. So I really want to read this, and I hope this resonates with some of you. A black woman speaks of white womanhood, of white supremacy, of peace. Is it right that I, a woman black, should speak of white womanhood? My fathers, my brothers, my husbands, my sons died for it, because of it. And their blood chilled in electric chairs, stopped by a hangman's noose, cooked by lynch mob's fire, spilled by white supremacists' mad desire to kill for profit, gives me that right. I wish that I could speak of white womanhood as it will and as it should be when it stands tall and full in equality. But then, womanhood will be womanhood, void of color, of class, and all necessity for my speaking thus will be past. White womanhood stands in bloody skirts and willing slavery, reaching out adulterous hand, killing mine and crushing me. What then is this superior thing that in order to be sustained must need to feed upon my flesh? How came this hard to be? Let's look to history. And they said, the white supremacists said, that you were better than me, that your fair brow should never know the sweat of slavery. They lied. White womanhood too is enslaved. The difference is degree. Remember, they sold you here even as they sold me. My sisters, there is no room for mockery. If they counted my teeth, they did appraise your thigh and sold you to the highest bidder, the same as I. Remember? And you did not fight. Mind you, I speak not mockingly, but I fought for freedom, and I'm fighting now for our unity. We are all women, and what wrongs you murders me, and eventually marks your grave so that we share mutual death at the hand of tyranny. They trapped me with the chain and gun. They trapped you with a lying tongue. For lest you see that fault that made male vigilantes, that robbed you of names, voice, authority, murderous greed, and wasted you and me. The white supremacists fixed your minds with poisonous thought. White skin is supreme. Changed all the nature, had ill, you wrought of gentle usefulness, abolishing your spring, tore out your heart, you set good apart from all that you could say, think, feel, know to be right, and you did not fight, but set your minds fast on slavery. You bore him sons. I bore him sons. No, not willingly. He purchased you, he raped me, I fought, but you fought neither for yourselves nor me, sat trapped in your superiority and spoke no reproach, consoled your outrage with added diamond brooches. How great is a woman's fear for a stone, a cold stone, that would not defend love, dignity, or honor. Understand, I am not your enemy in this. I was not the source of this distress. I was your friend. I fought. But you would not help me fight. thinking you helped only me. You deceived your eyes by seeing that my slavery was only my decay, and not realizing it also condemned you to death. These women were upheld in their bloody deeds by the president of this nation, thus putting the official seal of the fate of white womanhood in these United States. That is what they planned for you. Death for me, and worse than death for you. So what will you do? Will you fight with me? White supremacy is your enemy and mine. So be careful when you talk with me. Remind me not of my slavery, I know it well, but rather tell me of your own. Remember, you have never known me. You've been busy seeing me as white supremacists would have me be. And I will be myself, free. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Does everyone want to say hi to the chief of police back there? Maybe while he's here hanging out and having a lovely Saturday, he could maybe give us the names of the officers that murdered Osaze. Maybe he could stop sucking out all of the money from our town and spending it on cop cars and unnecessary police patrol. Are your officers making overtime to come and harass us today? Could you maybe answer that? No? Okay. Enough with him. We'll get back to what I came up here to talk about. Obviously, as people are taking to the streets all across the country, we're seeing how the police are using their power and their influence to target and harass organizers, to throw us in cages and try to silence us. What happened in Lancaster with the activists who were arrested and put on $1 million bail was absolutely immoral and inhumane. According to the ACLU of Pennsylvania, the U.S. is one of 2 countries in the world that uses cash bail. In 2020, 550,000 people nationwide were locked up for pretrial detention. The social, economic, and legal consequences of pretrial detention are often devastating. Many people held in detention lose their jobs, their housing, and become food insecure. Pretrial detention can also negatively impact an individual's ability to pay child support, which can threaten existing custody arrangements. Pretrial detention also has severe legal ramifications. According to the ACLU of Pennsylvania, those who are detained pretrial are far more likely to accept guilty pleas than those who have their liberty. Moreover, according to the Prison Policy Initiative, pretrial detention can begin a vicious cycle of incarceration, as 1 in 4 people who go to jail will be arrested again within the same year. But perhaps it's most important to stress that often, in many cases, pretrial detention is a death sentence. According to a report from the ACLU Pennsylvania, nationwide 3/4 of jail deaths occur among people in pretrial detention. More than 1/3 of deaths occur within 7 days of incarceration. People in jail who have not been convicted of their current charges have about twice the mortality rate of those who have been convicted, and the suicide rate among pretrial detainees can be 9 to 14 times higher than the general population. Nationally, 82% of all deaths by suicide occur amongst people in unconvicted status. Pretrial detention is a prime example of how the state uses the criminal legal system to maintain and cultivate systemic racism. Again, a 2016 report by the ACLU found that in Pennsylvania, across all offenses, Black defendants are more likely to receive a monetary bail decision, especially when charged with a weapons offense. 33% of white defendants charged with felony weapons offenses were assigned cash bail, compared with 78% of Black defendants charged with similar offenses. This system is not interested in delivering justice or maintaining public safety. It is designed to punish people for the color of their skin and their socioeconomic status. Community members are often given cash bail far outside anything approaching a fair judgment, and their hopes for justice often relies on the whim of individual judges. People right now are being held in cages on $10,000 to $15,000 fines, which they cannot pay. They are locked in crowded facilities with no possibility of social distancing, as case numbers in this county are on the rise. We must stand up and demand that our government protect our neighbors. We cannot let them convince us that those who sit in jail on pretrial detention are disposable and unworthy of our support and solidarity. Together, we will starve the local private bail bonds industry that preys on the most vulnerable in our society and change how bail is assigned in this county. And, most importantly, challenge and begin to dismantle the racialized forms of nuisance policing that characterize the majority of arrests and fines in this county. For your time.
To begin, I'd like to read a brief message from Dean Spade's Solidarity, Not Charity, Mutual Aid for Mobilization and Survival. Providing for one another through coordinative collective care is radical and generative. Effective social movements always include elements of mutual aid. The most famous example on the left in the United States is the Black Panther Party's survival program, including the free breakfast program, the free ambulance program, free medical clinics, programs offering rides to the elderly, and a school aimed at providing a liberating and rigorous curriculum to children. The Black Panthers programs mobilized people by creating spaces where they could access basic needs and build shared analysis about the conditions they were facing. J. Edgar Hoover famously wrote in his 1969 memo sent to all FBI officials that the BCP, Breakfast for Children program, represented the best and most influential activity going on for the BPP, the Black Panther Party, and as such is potentially the greatest threat to efforts by authorities to neutralize the Black Panther Party and to destroy what it stands for. The night before the Black Panther Party's Chicago program was supposed to open, the police broke into the church that was supposed to host it. They urinated and destroyed all the food. The very co-optation of this program by the Department of Agriculture, the USDA, which started their own federal funded program for breakfast for free children, is evidence of the significance and the importance of this mutual aid tactic. We here are protesting clear racism and brutality of our society. We are engaged in a fight against the systems that perpetuate these injustices. This fight will not be won in calls to action at individual occurrences of injustice, nor will it be won by any election, as the government will never be on our side. It will be won in the streets by sustained action. To support sustained direct action, we need to be organized. Our call to action today is a call to a tangible commitment. We've created a weekly solidarity meal program to help care for our unsheltered neighbors and for care workers. We're training tenants to know how to defend against their landlords. We're challenging how the police are criminalizing people in our areas. So come, we're right there, we're right behind y'all. We have free food, free meals, grab a drink, grab a snack. Yeah, and help us make State College a safe and livable place for all. Food is a right, not a privilege. Thank you.
My heart hurts for Breonna. I think that's where I'm at, that's where my head's at. I think all this extra is so great, but like at my heart, my spirit is not well because Breonna is not well. She was one of us. When I see her, I see myself, I see my aunts, I see my cousins. And I think for Black women here, this hits a lot harder. So just be conscious of that when you're asking your Black woman friends questions and you're asking them to go out or whatever you're doing. Please ask them if they are okay first. And yes, ask them if they're okay first. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of doing this. We were kids when Trayvon Martin was killed, and now we're adults, and it doesn't stop. And critical race theory tells us that this is predictable, like we should predict this happening from the microaggressions to the tragedies. But I think we're here because we're saying that we shouldn't have to predict this anymore. This shouldn't keep happening. And the point of us being out here is not for Instagram. Well, it shouldn't be for Instagram or for a resume. It's about demanding justice so we don't have to anymore. It's about protesting so there's nothing else to protest. It's about fighting until the war is won. So if you're out here today, I need you out here tomorrow, and I need you in the organizing meeting and the workshop and the occupation of the courthouse and of the police department. I need you out here consistently. And of course, hold me to that as well. I think we know, or if you don't know, now you know that Happy Valley is not happy for all.
So we need to continue to apply pressure on this borough to get justice for Osaze. We need to send resources to Louisville to get justice for Breonna, and join us here to attack the white supremacist institution that is Penn State University. They don't want us to think outside of oppressive structures. They don't want us to think creatively. They say, how dare we think about defunding and abolition and about anti-capitalist structures, but we're here to think and organize and move out of that. And it is people together. It is not entrepreneurship or individualistic ideas that will get us out of it. It is all of us. Look around. It is all of us and more people that are needed to make actual change. It takes a struggle for collective liberation. And I think, was it Haniel who said it earlier, none of us are free until all of us are free. And when we think about whose names we hear and who we're fighting for, we need to fight for all Black people, and not just Black people who are palatable, not just Black people who are light-skinned. We need to fight for poor Black people, for differently abled Black people, for trans Black people, and for radical Black people. And then, sorry, everything's all scrambled, but lastly, I just wanted to say that Breonna is the name that we know. There are many that we don't know. I don't know your sister. I don't know your aunt. Y'all don't know my cousins who have been killed by police. And this is just so much bigger than today. Yeah, so to end, I want everyone to stand if you're able. And thank you to everyone who came to the vigil tonight. I hope you really felt something. I know I felt something there. And we're going to do something that we did yesterday, but also it happened in 2001 at the village protest that Black Caucus held, where there was a 10-day sit-in in the hub to demand justice for Black students on this campus. There was a Black body found in the woods by this university, and they never investigated it. So it has happened here. It has also happened here, and it happened in 2019. And we don't need it to happen again. So this was said every hour on the hour at the 2001 village protest. It is from Peace Go With You Brother by Gil Scott-Heron, and it is a call and response. Usually we hold hands, but so don't, in spirit. So please repeat after me. Now, more than ever, all the brothers and sisters, must come together. All the brothers and sisters everywhere, must feel the time is in the air. Common blood flows through common veins and common eyes. All see the same. Now, more than ever, all the brothers and sisters must come together. Ashe. 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 Thank you. We do have chalk. I believe some of it is getting passed around. If you would like to mark this space with how you're feeling, any thoughts you have, to just leave a mark in this space, I really encourage you to.
How are you? I know, that's why I hate it.